of the areas I find many musicians struggle with the most is with rhythm. It's interesting to me that as humans, we instinctually feel rhythm so much or can sense when rhythm isn't good, but yet we have a very difficult time understanding or being able to, I would say, uh, work out rhythms on our own. I wanted to give some tips on how to work on that and just talk about the importance of rhythm. And I think that a lot of times, if you ask people when they learn music, what do they learn first? Do they learn pitches? Do they learn rhythms? A lot of people will probably say that they end up learning the pitches first and putting the most importance on the pitches. I actually do the opposite. And I'm a drummer first. It was the first instrument I learned, so rhythm to me was very important early on. And I must say, as a multi-instrumentalist, it really helped me learn instruments quickly. So I was able to pick up guitar and piano and mandolin and various instruments a lot quicker, having a very stable foundation in rhythm. Um, it can really help you learn songs faster, retain songs faster. And melody, believe it or not, is secondary to rhythm. I know this is a controversial statement, but they've done a lot of experiments where they've shown that people will notice that something is off of rhythm before they will notice a pitch being the wrong pitch for a song. So it just goes to show how deeply embedded in our brain rhythm is, yet we struggle with it. I'm just going to talk about a few ways to work on your rhythm before now we're looking at a composition that I'm working on, which I'm going to discuss how I was transcribing what I did in a demo recording to putting into Dorico so that I can further work on it. But first off, I want to show you some great books that you can use. I do recommend reading music because reading music is one of the best ways to get stronger at rhythm. If you can read music, you have to be forced to be able to justify and understand how many beats fit in the bar and get deeper into syncopation and accents. I use Rhythmic Trainer. This is a really great book. I've used this to use examples for a lot of instruments, guitar players, right, and pianists, any instrument, right? It's not just for drums, because in this we can apply these rhythms to playing a chord progression or even just working out over one chord. I also like to use this is a classic book for drums, Progressive Steps to Syncopation, Ted Reed Publications. Classic book. Again, we can work through this and we can use the examples for whatever melodic instrument we're playing, and we can just apply a chord or a note to it. And another book, as you start to get deeper in, you can get a book called The Odd Time Reading Text, written by Louis Belson and was it Gil Brenes? I actually don't know how to say that person's names, but they collaborate on a series of books together. And some of the ways that the phrasing is written in some of the Louis Belson books are, I wouldn't say outdated, but I think you don't traditionally see them that way, and I think that was intentional, just so it trained you so that you can see rhythms in a multitude of manners written out, even if they're not what you would normally see. It's just a warning when you get into it. But I think this is a really wonderful fundamental book when you want to get into understanding playing through odd time signatures, no matter what instrument you're playing. I also am a big fan of using a metronome. The one I use the most is this rhythm drum watch from Tama. It has really good tap tempo on it. I'm not a big fan of apps on iPhones. The tap tempo is not very good on iPhone apps. So I switched to this, obviously, for composing, to be able to make sure I'm tapping in and getting a better idea at tempos, and just also not just to be tethered to a phone. I also use this. It's a Soundbender. It's a watch that they have. It's called the Pulse. And I wrote an article about this on my website, Anatomy of Tone, where it's a wearable vibrating metronome. So if you don't really like hearing the sound of a metronome that can be offensive sometimes and maybe annoy people in other rooms. The metronome will actually vibrate and you'll feel it, which actually is a great way to train yourself to get used to feeling beats. You could also stress accents if you want beat one to feel stronger. You can practice so that beat one has a stronger pulse on it. So it's really nice that you can create a lot of variations in the way it beats for how long it beats and stuff. And you could even do metric modulations, which is really cool. It also has a cool feature that it will light up, so you can get a visual representation of the beats too. You could wear it around your ankle, your chest, your wrist. So these are some of the tools that I like to use when I am training to play complex rhythms. And I've been playing for a long time, and I still sometimes use some of these devices just to practice and get a little deeper into rhythm. Now, I mentioned that when I learn songs, I start with rhythm first. First thing I want to know is what the rhythm of whether it's a chord or a melodic line is. I want to get the rhythm. And if you see the top stave of this bottom line here, you'll notice that all the pitches are on one line, and I just got the rhythms in. I filled in the pitches I was playing on the top line already because I had gone back and started to listen to the recording and figure out the harmony of what was happening. But in the bottom line, I didn't. I just did the first listen through, and I wrote out the rhythms of what is being played. And then I'm going to fill in, probably after I make this video, I'm going to go back and fill in what the pitches are so then I can continue to compose this song. So I got this idea down, kernel, and I want to be able to expand on it. But I first want to get it into Dorico so then I can look at it harmonically and rhythmically and think about how I can make alterations. But what you're looking at here in orange is really just where I started with. It's just only the rhythms, and then I'm going to start to fill this in. I do this with any song. I was teaching a student the guitar solo to Proud Mary today from CCR, and I did a very similar thing with that, right? I started with the rhythms. I'm just going to open it up here and show the section that I started teaching here today. And we're just getting into the solo here on guitar. And I got in only the notes, the rhythmic note values of all this stuff, the tied notes, all this, the 16th notes are in all the rhythms. They didn't have any pitches assigned to it, just one generic pitch through the whole thing. And then what I did is then I went back and added in the harmony. And so I would say that rhythm should be your go-to, your cornerstone for when you're learning music. And Dizzy Gillespie actually said that he started everything from rhythm, and rhythm was the most important element in developing music. And I think this is true with melody lines too. People tend to think of melody lines or themes as being pitch related, and they are, but rhythm still also plays an incredibly strong role in strong melodic lines or strong themes. So get into using these tools and reading music and try to rethink maybe the way that you learn music. I'm available for private lessons if you'd like to get deeper into working on some rhythmic exercises and finding ways to structure it so you could have consistent growth with trying to strengthen your rhythmic skills. You can find me at anatomyoftone.com.